What's up guys, KalipezTech here, coming at you with 5 reasons to buy the Samsung Galaxy A52 in 2021. Let's get started. So the first reason you're going to want to buy the Samsung Galaxy A52 in 2021 is the display. The display of this phone is absolutely amazing. With a 6.5-inch 90Hz Super AMOLED display that has a resolution of 1080p, a PPI of 407, an aspect ratio of 20:9, and a screen-to-body ratio of 84.6%. Not only do those specs sound good on paper, but in real life, this looks so good. The Super AMOLED display makes sure those colors are going to be real bright. It's got a high resolution, so you can do things like viewing pictures, consuming content, doing things like video streaming, high-performance gaming, and all that. And when it comes to things like watching videos, that experience is going to be enhanced by the 90Hz display. With the 90Hz display, it's going to look a lot smoother. You can even tell by the scrolling here, it's a lot faster than some other phones that only have a 60Hz display where the scrolling might not be bad, but it is a little slow. Just to give you an idea of how much of a difference this 90Hz display makes, this is the scrolling on the Samsung Galaxy A52. And I got an iPhone XS Max here, and this phone only has a 60Hz refresh rate. And as you can see, the scrolling is a little bit slower. So there's definitely going to be a difference. With this 90Hz display, you're going to get an overall better experience when it comes to stuff like video streaming and playing games, even animations from the general functions of the phone itself. It's all going to be a lot smoother and a little easier on your eyes too. And of course, not only is this display really high quality, but the size is not bad either. Having a 6.5-inch display, it might not be quite as big as something like the Samsung Galaxy A72, but it's still such a good size. It's big enough to the point where if you're doing something like content consumption, especially when you're trying to read something or see a small detail, it's going to be plenty big enough for you to see that stuff easily and have a good experience. But at the same time, it's not going to be such a huge phone that it's uncomfortable to carry around in your pocket. Now, the next reason to buy the Samsung Galaxy A52 in 2021 is the storage. This phone is getting 128 gigabytes of internal storage with microSD card expansion. So that's really a lot of storage. These days, the size of apps, files, and even the system itself is just getting larger and larger. So it's really important to have enough storage to do everything you're going to want to do on your phone. So whether you do a lot of things that do require that kind of storage or you might not, it's still good to have more than you think you need. Because in general, it's better to have a lot of storage and not need any of it than it is to have too little and find out later that you're running out of storage and you can't do a whole lot about it. And with 128 gigabytes, you're really unlikely to actually run out of space unless you're doing something like shooting a lot of videos or if you have lots of really large apps on the phone. But when it comes to something like a photo or a video, you can put photos and videos on the microSD card, which is something a phone like the iPhone can't do at all. The next reason to buy the Samsung Galaxy A52 in 2021 is the camera. Up here in the front-facing camera, we got a hole punch design that looks really nice on the phone itself. And besides just looking nice, this is a 32 megapixel camera, really high quality, really impressive. And then on the back here, we got a 64 megapixel rear camera, a 12 megapixel ultra-wide camera, a 5 megapixel depth sensing camera, and a 5 megapixel macro camera. So besides maybe a telephoto lens, which is a feature mostly just really new flagship phones have anyway, this phone has every feature you could want on the camera, and the photo quality is really good. Just to give you an idea of how good the pictures taken by this phone look, here's a picture taken by the rear camera of this phone, and here's one taken by the front-facing camera. As you can see, not only do the pictures in general have a really good quality, but the details are really there too. The colors look really nice, and things with lighting like the little shadows and highlights and everything like that look really good too. Not only is the quality of the photos taken by this phone really impressive, but this phone can also shoot in 4K in both the rear and the front-facing camera. So if you're taking lots of videos and getting them in the best quality possible is important to you, keep in mind that this phone can shoot in 4K, and that 4K quality is going to be really good. And again, going back to the storage of this phone, a lot of phones, even if they can shoot in 4K at this mid-level, don't have enough storage to the point where taking a lot of 4K videos is really worth it. Because remember, files for 4K videos are really big compared to a 1080p video, for example. So you are going to need extra space, which this phone definitely does have. My fourth reason to buy the Samsung Galaxy A52 in 2021 is the battery. This phone has a 4500 milliamp hour battery that supports 25 watt fast charging. So these days, pretty much the biggest battery you can get is a 5000 milliamp hour battery. So this phone definitely has a big battery. In comparison, the iPhone 12, which is supposed to be a top of the line flagship phone, only has a 2815 milliamp hour battery, and that phone is a lot more expensive than the Samsung Galaxy A52. And the Samsung Galaxy A52 has a battery that's almost double the size of the iPhone 12. So that really should tell you something. If you're in a situation where you're not always able to plug in your phone all the time, but still have to use it a lot throughout the day, this is going to be a big advantage because this battery is going to last for a really long time in comparison to a lot of other phones with smaller batteries. Now, not only that, but if you don't like to get a new phone every year and you prefer to keep the same phone as long as it'll work, this is going to be another advantage because in phones like the iPhone, in some older flagship phones with much smaller batteries, batteries degrade over time, and those smaller batteries are going to wear out a lot faster. You're really going to notice it after maybe even a year in some phones. You'll notice it dying way faster, whereas with this phone, since it has such a large battery, even after a couple years, you're most likely not going to notice it dying as fast. Now, the fifth reason to buy the Samsung Galaxy A52 in 2021 is that it has dust and water resistance. This phone, in fact, has water resistance for a meter up to 30 minutes, which is really impressive considering that it's not a flagship phone. Typically, I only see phones that are flagship phones or at least really high-end phones with dust and water resistance. It's really not that common to have a phone that's more of a mid-level phone that has that kind of thing. So if you're in an environment where you're exposed to a lot of dust or if you're exposed to water, then this is going to be a really good advantage because a lot of the time with these more mid-level phones, they don't have any type of resistance to that. So it's really easy to get damaged by dust or water. The phones wear out quicker and then they break easier. But with this phone, it has that extra durability to that kind of environment, so you're going to be a lot safer. But those were 5 reasons to buy the Samsung Galaxy A52 in 2021. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, be sure to leave a thumbs up and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video.